What we are going to do is just to open up a discussion among ourselves, because these are very useful issues that I think have revolved around most of the discussions that we've had the whole morning. The issue of digital innovation, and of course, what the other panel was speaking about. We may just want to pick up from there and talk about environmental diplomacy. We had 4 sets of questions. The first one, how can digital tools be leveraged to improve transparency, accountability, and participation in governance? Then the second one, what are the risks and challenges of digital engagement, and how can they be mitigated? The third question is, in what ways can African nations balance economic development and environmental sustainability while ensuring climate justice for vulnerable communities? Then the fourth one, what role does environmental diplomacy play in resolving cross-border environmental challenges? Now that I have only one panelist, I think I'll allow her to introduce herself and say something before I turn over the mic to the other members of the team. So as she speaks, please think about where you belong. Gen Z, those of you in the house, we want you to tell us something about digital technology, digital activism, the successes, inclusion, exclusion, and such related issues. So please go on, Faith.
Good afternoon once more. So yes, my name is Faith Anyonje. Apart from being a student, I am the managing director for Essence Park Limited. At Essence Park, we do EHS, Environment, Health and Safety. And in environment, we do waste management. So I run a women's program called Mama Raslimali, where we train women on upcycling. Because everyone is doing recycling, then we decided to do upcycling and train them on how they can turn waste into a useful resource, sell the waste, and get some money for themselves. That's what I do. So my undergraduate is environment, and my postgraduate is occupational health and safety, and then my other postgraduate is now international relations.
Kindly say something about the first set, the issue of transparency and accountability in the use of digital tools.
So digital tools will be very paramount in environmental issues, solving environmental issues, because one of the problems we have in the agreements, for example, just what we have been discussing, is how do we measure, for example, the inefficiency of Kyoto Protocol? We do not have measures in place. We do not have parameters to measure the effectiveness of that agreement. We do not have parameters to measure the effectiveness of Paris Agreement, for example. So if we have the digital tools, they can help us with getting data. And one of the problems we have, and especially with the developed countries, with the major powers, is they need data. They need to be provided that this is the amount they are producing, and this is what they have done. We do not have those kind of data. So, and then because we are relying in self-reporting, you find that countries are giving wrong information, and we do not have any way we can ascertain the kind of reports that they are giving. So that's, for example, a way they can come through. So if we can be able to find a way of getting data centers, for example, or those digital tools that can give us the effectiveness of measuring specific parameters on.
Thank you, Faith. Data. I think the keynote speaker in the morning told us about the value of data and research. And he gave us a lot of statistics on a number of issues, because we can never do any analysis without basing it on data. So let me open up the floor. and I want to do it this way. I know we have two groups. When you are registering, as you are coming in, somebody must have asked you to state in which age bracket do you belong? Or is it just me who was asked? I know it was deliberate. I know we have Gen Zs here, a great majority, but we also have fathers of Gen Zs here who listen to the same stories. So I just need to find out, I think the issue of inclusion and exclusion, especially in terms of digital innovation, to what extent can we apply, make these digital platforms accessible to a wider coverage? Because I think one of the major things that we have experienced is the differences that we face, especially in different parts of the world, especially in Africa, where some people can access, others have a very serious challenge in terms of access and use. So I may just want to open up this discussion for anyone who would really want to say something about access and the issue of inclusion and exclusion. Any hand? Please go ahead. Just say your name for purposes of all of us.
Right. Okay, nimesikia kuna Gen Z, kuna wengine, sisi millennials tuko pia hapa ndani tu hapa katikati. Which is very interesting. Right. As I said, my name is Felix. I'm a counseling psychologist, and currently I think I am more on the mental and psychological side of governance. And one of the things that which I think I should mention also here is that there's an organization that has developed these digital toolkits called Wajibikaji Platform and the FOT app. Basically, this is what we are talking about here because it encompasses everything, like collection of data, doing scorecards, what we are doing right now in Kiambu, because we have an organization that is doing that. So this is very essential in the fact that it doesn't not only deal with the apps per se ya simu, but short codes and SMSs where you can just do your name, report on what you've seen. Last time we were discussing on nimeona polisi yakichukua pesa kwa barabara, what do I do? So this app helps you to take a photo and send with huge anonymity, because that again was another aspect. Even like when we are developing more of these apps, tunajua situation ya Kenya na politics and what is happening. Unaweza trackiwa, unaweza snitchiwa, those companies tunaongelelea kwa X huko na snitch watu. So this is a very safe way of also ensuring that there's accountability, there's transparency, and there's safety, even of the person who is reporting any of these things that we are seeing. Accountability in the sense that there are budget allocations that are done by the county governments and the national governments. How are we holding them accountable in terms of reporting? Yeah. So right now, Kiambu County, we've been allocated 5.something billion. So what happens? Do I know how much has been allocated? Do I know what it has been allocated for? Do I know how to report in case it has not been done? We know Morara, who's reporting unfinished projects, stalled projects, the county government. Yeah. So that is one of also reporting what is happening on the ground in terms of accountability and transparency. So where is the money going? What is happening to the money? Who is accountable? Where do we report? Yeah, office of the ombudsman and those other offices that are there. So do we even know them as young people? Ama tutaingia TikTok tu, tutaingia Twitter, tutaingia Facebook, tuandike paragraphs huko. But do you know the relevant offices to go and report these things? Yeah? Do you know of these toolkits that organizations have developed? Is there funding for organizations? Mimi nikiamua tushikane na Gen Z na millennials kama ile protest ingine. So do we know how to go about it? Do you know the people to even talk to and find this information? So these apps will help you get, because those apps have the biodemographic data of the location. Kama ni shule za Kiambu, ziko ngapi, ziko wapi, ziko na staff wangapi, ziko na students wangapi. So all these things will find them in those toolkits, and you can be able to just pick a school in, let's say, Embakasi, kuna pesa ilipeanwa hapo na haijafanyiwa kazi. So I think this is one of the best ways that we can go currently with our generation, and the fact that we are very dynamic on social media and smartphones. Yeah, I think that was what I really wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you have touched on quite weighty issues, especially in terms of accountability and transparency. I'll move on to the second speaker, kindly.
Hamjambo tena. Kwa majina naitwa Kevin Odwar, najulikana kama balozi. Mimi ni muuguzi, mtu wa emergency. Now, on the panel discussion on digital innovation and civic engagement, and okay, what I think, and I've mentioned in my first comment, is about the social media. If we utilize the social media, I think youths can get information rightfully. Because even if we are talking about, I mean, he mentioned about visiting government offices. For instance, right now, in the ministries, you find these young people are doing internship in these ministries, and they are working under the IT programs and all this to set even the courts are now going online. You can go to attend court seated in your house. So the only challenge that we have is the package of the information. So that is what I can say is a challenge on the digital innovation on the education, or rather public participation or information reaching the public. Is how do we package the message that suits the young people and the old middle age, as he mentioned, our age millennial. You know, it is information packaging. That is what, again, can hinder. The other thing is about the network, because it's something that I'm paying for to use the data. Can government provide the fiber in all the areas? Because we have an information and technology ministry. What are they doing to make sure people in rural areas are not using the shortcut of staff, whatever, to get information from government? We have a platform that can also engage everyone from rural to urban, and, you know, information reach to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin, especially for raising the issue of infrastructure development in the different parts of the country. For the next speaker, as you move, I think the two first speakers have touched on the issue of risks. So I want you to move to the second one, the risks and challenges of digital engagement. These are very obvious questions that I think the two speakers have already alluded to, but I want you to speak directly. I don't want to divert your already set comment. Please go ahead as we prepare for the other presenters.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. My name is Joyce Mugure from the United Disabled Persons of Kenya. And I actually wanted to talk about some of the challenges that we are facing as we rush towards the digital space and moving everything into digitalizing everything. And there's a big part of the population that is being left out, including persons with disabilities, who can barely access most of the apps, most of the platforms that we are setting. And while we can say that the youth are very aware and are informed and can access information, what about this other group of persons that cannot access this information? Because when we do dissemination, we do not think about persons who are blind. We do not think about persons with neurodiverse disabilities who might probably not be able to navigate through those platforms. So I feel we barely have enough strategies to ensure that everyone can actually access information as we move into digitalizing everything.
Thank you very much. Again, a very, very valid contribution in terms of accessibility, affordability, and of course, inclusivity. I'll give her, okay, I'll give you the last word.
1 minute.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Virginia Kibunja. I work with FIDA Kenya. So I think for me, in terms of a challenge or a risk that I wanted to highlight was the issue of safety when it comes to online or digital democracy. And especially during the electoral period, we were able to monitor the 2022 elections, and we actually realized that online-related SGBV was actually the highest form of violence that a lot of the women candidates actually faced. So we are saying we want a lot of women in power, or at least in governance processes, but the security for these women is not guaranteed. So you find a lot of women were actually dropping out of running for elections just because they were bullied online. And this is not just even happening in politics, even the social life. When we find the cases of femicide, when cases were coming out that women were being killed, the first thing that a lot of people online were saying is they were being killed because they wanted money. You know, so a lot of them were, instead of actually us having empathy for the families, we were actually judging these women. We were saying it makes sense why most of them have been killed. So again, I think the big issue we also have to look at, and of course, my colleague has also mentioned in terms of PWDs, where is the security for these people? And in terms of mitigation, is there enough jurisprudence to be able to address some of these issues? Especially for electoral-related SGBV, we were trying to have, and UDPK is actually among them, among other organizations, just to see how can we be able to have sexual gender-based violence included as an election offense, just to be able to find a way in which we can litigate on the issue to create at least jurisprudence where women know that if I'm attacked online, there's a way I can be able to seek redress. So I think we really have to look into the safety issue, because a lot of these women are even being tracked. I know there's a colleague who was saying that you can be able to pinpoint where somebody is by virtue of their account. So a lot of these women are being tracked, then goons are sent to their places, and just because of that, their safety, physical safety already. So we find the issue of violence, we are running away from the physical, but the same digital platform is still creating an avenue for physical violence. So maybe we need to look also into the security of women who are participating, especially in elections.
Thank you very much. Those are very good comments, especially in terms of the risks associated with access. I'm being informed that we are running short of time, although this has been a very useful discussion. Moderator, please allow me to just let my singular panelists say a word before I close this.
Thank you so much. I totally agree with her. So one of the challenges we have also with the digital platform is the sharing of information. I am also privileged to have done security management as a course. And one of the issues we have, and sovereignty, like one of my colleagues here raised, is that we have it impended on the international laws. So the secrets of the country, it means if US has data about Kenya, they know about everything about Kenya. You get? So we do not have our own privacy even as a country because information has been shared. That's also one problem that we have with the digital platforms.
Thank you very much. I think those are very good comments. I think she's ending on a note that all of us should be aware of, the issue of regulation and policy. I think very, very important. Those of us who have been watching news, I think yesterday some young men were arrested and arraigned in court. In Uganda, it has become a challenge, and in every other country, I think the issue of regulation and the privacy of information that we circulate on social media. So I think, let me ask the members to give her, and of course us, a round of applause as we end this session.
All right.